Alright, I had a big speech prepared, but I kind of did. I'm just going to speak about who I am and what I've experienced in my life. Well, on the mystic half. So I came to this area of Norwich. I came to Norwich like 2 years ago. And when I came to Norwich, I was pretty down. Like, a lot of things had happened to me in my life, and at this point, I was just down. I didn't know what to do. So, I guess in that open time, that I had a lot of time on my hands. I didn't have a job. I was looking, it was hard. So, I started doing research on metaphysics, because I just found out what astral projection was, and what meditation truly does to the mind and the body. So through all of my research, through metaphysics, I found out that you can be a different person every single moment of your life. As soon as you think something, that's what you become at that moment. So I figured, I was like, why am I going to sit here feeling down and sorry for myself when I could just change that at any given moment? And I started to apply that to my life every day. And I started to meditate, and I started to do more research. The more research that I did, like a lot of people, they want to have astral projections. It's pretty hard. I'm not going to tell you that it's the easy thing. Like, it's pretty hard to achieve that. And a lot of people want to meditate on a constant basis. And they want to sit down, but they can't find the time. They don't want to find the time, and they say it's tough. But when you start doing research, when you start putting that knowledge in your head, it will just become a lot more easier, because your mind will accept it as something that you truly want to do. Because if you say that you want it, but you don't prove to yourself that you actually do want it, it's a contradiction, you know, and it's not going to really happen. So, like, I started to do a lot of research on astral projection and lucid dreams, and I just spontaneously came out of my body. Like, I believed it, but once I did it, it was a different level. It was a whole different thing. Like, I did not try. I just bought some mugwort, I brought some crystals, and I put it on my pillow, and I thought I was having a fantastical dream. There was this guy on my bed, touching my leg, looking into my face, and I was like, wow, this is a pretty intense dream. This is pretty cool. Went back to sleep. Woke up, another being was doing the same thing on the other side. Sitting there, just looking into my face. I was like, oh my God, what's going on? Then I did not want to look up, because I knew there was something up there, you know? So I was like, okay, I feel like this is my guide on my right-hand side. So I'm just going to turn over here. This person is comfortable, so I'm gonna gravitate towards this person. I did that, and I kind of blacked out once again. These things happen when you get lucid and you come out of your body. I blacked out. Then the next thing I remember, I woke up like this. And I was just moving out of my body. And I was floating. And the only thing that I could think was, I did not want to go into that mirror. So the only thing that I could do was move just like this, and I was floating. And I just started to fly towards my bed. But this was a weird thing, because a lot of people say that when you have an out-of-body experience, you see your body. I did not. And the thing that I was trying to prepare myself for was to see my body. I was like, okay, once I see my body, I'm not going to panic. I'm just going to say, okay, that's my body, and I'm here. But in my case, I did not. And I happened to go out of my door, and I ended up into the bathroom within a split second. And one of these entities was in the bathroom, and he was telling me that he wanted to be sent through this portal that was in my room. Now, all of this sounds lovely. You know, I took it in. I was like, yeah, something happened. This was a nice dream. This was a nice phenomenon. This was nice, whatever it was. But then I don't know if anybody here knows Steve. I met Steve. He came over to my house. We was talking. He came into my room, and he walked towards the back of my room, and he was like, whoa, there's a lot of energy coming from right here. like, what is this? I feel like there's a vortex right here. I was like, oh my God. I was like, I thought that was a dream. Like, yeah, so that kind of brought things together with me. And I had multiple experiences like that. It's one thing to be told that we have an energetic body and that we are more than our physical body, and to actually experience it for yourself. Besides astral projection and lucid dreams, I had experiences that I had when I was in deep states of meditation. Like I would go into a very, very deep state of meditation and I felt like I would be transported to another place. Like there was one instance that I was actually playing the singing bowl. And my friends always ask me, like, how can you meditate and you're moving? I really don't know. But I was playing that singing bowl. The next thing I know, there was an image to the left-hand side. And I kind of like turned to the side and I became that image. I was in that image. Then I was standing on a ship with this man on the side of me, and we was looking out into the galaxy, and he was just saying that, you see this? This is my launch point. Because I called my seat at the time my launch point, because I would meditate and shoot off. So he said, this is my launch point right here. And then he said, come with me, take a walk. I walked with this man, and we ended up in a room, sort of like this. And he pulled down a board. And this lady, she started to show me this other race of beings. And she said that they're pretty similar like you guys. But I kind of got offended. Because there was like a warrior race. And they was, one would burp, then another one would burp. You know? So after she said that, I was like, whoa, what you trying to say? But what she was really trying to say was that they work as a hive mind, which I truly believe that we do. Like if we, like the things that happen on the news and the things that happen in the world, like there's so much tragedy that's happened, I don't even want to talk on it because I have a picture in my mind of something that I've seen recently, what is terrible. And that like when those things happen, we have to also take personal responsibility for that stuff. It's not just the people outside, you know? It's like, if somebody else is doing that, that means that there's something that's not right within ourselves also. So, I kind of related that to that. Like when I always had these mystical experiences, I never took it for, oh wow, this is fun, you know? I always took it for, okay, so there is more than just this, me standing here in my physical body. And there is a greater connection. It's never about this moment. It's never about even the next moment. It's about like everything coming together as one, you know? It's like there is no me. I am you. You are me. Like if I see you and you're down, I have to say that I'm down. Like there's a guy at my job, right? Like he has respect enough to hold a job. That's what I tell him. You know? Like if you have respect enough to hold a job, but you don't have respect enough to know that next week, next month, that you're not going to be living in a house and you say that you do not care. You say, I live it day by day. And he feels to himself, in his heart, true to himself, that he does not deserve anybody. And I asked him, why? Why do you feel like that? Why do you feel like you don't deserve anybody? But I know the psychology behind that because he was, like his parents sent him off and he was adopted. So you know what that leads up to. And I always told him, he was always asking me anyway, like, why do you always come at me like this? And why do you always talk to me like this? I said, because I met you. And if I met you, that means that I also have a similar problem. I would have never even seen you. Because that's how everything is interconnected. Just like that. Like, we're all connected. There is no separation at all. So I had another experience, right? I was in a very, very deep state of consciousness in this moment. I mean, I think I went a little too far. Like, I was getting afraid. Because there's sometimes that you can go really, really deep out there where you don't supposed to go because our ego. Like, if you go past this point, your ego will struggle with you, and you'll say, no, I don't. But the spirit is saying, no, I have to. You have to see this. And I got to this point that I came out of my body, and I was hearing the voice of this lady, and she was saying that, do you know that you are not real? I was like, what do you mean I'm not real? I'm standing right here. You know? It's like, you are not real. This whole world is not real. And she was like, let me show you. And she turned the view around and she showed me myself, and it was crazy. I looked at like an animated figure, and I looked at like I was mud and I was melting. And I was like, what is this? And she was like, I'm just trying to show you that this reality is not a real reality. Even the next reality is not a real reality. It's just another thought. Put on another thought, onto another thought, until you go back to. And at that moment, as I'm trying to get out of this meditative state, I felt like, oh man, I gotta get back to this reality. I understand that, okay, maybe this is not real, but I want to experience this a little bit more. You know? I am not trying to leave right now. But keep on having those experiences, and just brings me closer and closer and closer to the thought that we run this religion off of, you know? That's at the core, that's what it's all about. That we're all connected, we're all one, there is no separation. There's so much segregation right now that it's insane. And that's the only reason that I do this. I love metaphysics. It transforms people to a different level. Like I told somebody yesterday, because I also have a website called Raw Energetics, and a YouTube, King David. I talk about this stuff all the time. Well, one of these guys, he bought one of my products, and he called me. He said, okay, is that shipment coming? I was like, oh yeah, I just got it. Actually, I got it last week, but, you know, so then I sent it to him. And he was saying, okay, so how do I go about this to have this lucid dream? I gave him instructions. It was supposed to have been a 10-minute conversation. I talked to him a little bit because I noticed that he wanted to talk to me. And I told him that you can either have these experiences, right, and just go have fun. And just wake up the next day and just keep it moving. Or you can have these experiences and you can mold them towards your life. And you can give it to other people. And you can share that, you know? And you can have that stick into your vibration. And you can radiate that throughout your life. That he also said something that everybody else that walks this path says. I find it very hard to talk to other people about this. But it's not true. It's not true. I see it as not true. So when I talk to people, they always accept it because I don't come off weird when I'm saying it, because I don't believe that. And I told him, we can be in a room of 50 people, and me and him can be all spiritual to whatever point, and we can stand out as odd. But then people will notice you, that's who this person is. And they will love you for being that person. And whatever you're giving off, that would spread to the next person. And that's what it's all about. It's connecting people, making everything come to a whole. You know? I know my mind is a little out there, you know. But this is how I take it all in, because these experiences, they've done so much for me. They just like kind of, it let me see a bigger picture. It let me know that it's not about me. It truly isn't. Like, some people, they just want to live and they just want to pass it on to the next generation. Just give them a house. Now I can die, you know? That's the thought. I'll set my kid up with a house and make sure he can go to college and now I can die. It's not about that. Then what are you creating? Some more buildings and people that can grow companies? That's not going to do anything for us. Like, but it's better to install like a good thought and a good feeling in somebody, so that they can project that into somebody else and make this world that way. That's what I feel that matters, you know. Well, I don't know if you guys commonly do this in speeches, but does anybody have any questions about any of these kind of experiences, so I can talk on those experiences?
Rick hasn't caught us yet.
It's been expressed to me that this plane might be kind of a spiritual proving ground for what we currently have in, and that if you can survive here, that might be something worth taking with you, and or kind of like a star in your chest. If you survive here, you might be able to either come back and do it again better, or in a way promote somewhere else. If that makes any sense.
On that, well, I have to first say that when I astral projected, I only communicated with beings a handful of times, and they don't give much conversation. They always, like, I had one instance that they asked me, they was talking like I was not there. And then they approached me saying, well, what are you doing here? You know, like, this guy is not supposed to be here. What is he doing here? He should leave. And they answered 2 questions. But on that same note, I think that, no, let's say it like this. The people, the entities that do not have a physical body, this is for sure, they envy us because we have a physical body. Because, think about it like this, it's a blessing to have a physical body, to be in this reality, to be able to be stressed, to be able to have depression, to be able to go through all of that misery, and then turn around and be happy and excited. And even on top of that, to take it to a different level, I can have my physical body, then I can leave and be energetic and go play around and go to any dimension, then come back. They can't. They're what they are, and that's it, you know? But there's a whole bunch of books written throughout history talking about the experience of death. Like, you die, and they all say you gotta go down first anyway. You go down, and you gotta come back up. You go through a hell-type phase, because, believe it or not, we all got some kind of undealt with emotions, so we gotta go deal with that. Then you gotta come back up, and at the end, you just end up in source anyway. Like, in between, like, is this, like, people say this is a place you come just to get information and to give it back to your higher self. But that's just experience in itself, like just being consciousness itself. It doesn't matter what plane you are on, that's what you're doing all the time, every given moment, you know? Anybody else?
Well, I think from what you were saying, that you had an astral projection and met someone who was of a different, who was staring out into the universe.
Yeah.
Which I think in spiritualism, I always feel there's other places we can go, and planets that souls can go to. And I think that's probably what you meant. Where this Earth is the hardest for souls to learn.
Well, they
you kind of get like a accreditation for it type of thing. Like,
yeah.
You got through that.
They say that. I'm sorry. Okay.
No, it's okay.
They say that there's a couple of places like Earth, you know, but there's just a couple. But yeah, like every place has its different level of dimension, and also it's specific for like certain things. Like, I forgot the specifics. I'm not gonna try to go through it, but I know, like, as we all know, that Venus is for love, and there's I think Mercury is for swiftness and stuff like that. But yeah, they're like schools. All the planets are like schools. Anybody else?
I think you did a good job.
Okay.
Very interesting.
All right.
I'm gonna go check out your webpage.
Yeah, my webpage is ra-energetics.com. And I also have the YouTube. It's King David. Or it's easiest to find me if you put King David.
Why King David?
My name is David.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes sense.
Yeah. So I thank you guys for letting me come here today and giving this speech. I definitely enjoyed it. It was way better than reading this stuff. Okay, thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dave. I gotta tell you, the last time I was on the podium with David, his talk was about 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And he's greatly improved, so his spiritual stuff is working on him, so that's very good. Was my workshop any help for you with astral travel?
Yeah, actually it was.
Did that help you get out?
Yeah.
So that's my announcement today later, I'll put it up. So,
Yeah, I was just gonna say, if he's gonna have another workshop, you should definitely go, because I'm not really sure what he was doing. He was, but once he started doing it, I almost left right there.
Yeah.
Like I almost took off.
Great.
Yeah.
All right. So we're gonna do that, so. Thank you. We're gonna move on to our most sacred part of our service today, is the healing part of the service. And during that, David's gonna be doing singing bowl meditation to facilitate the healing service rather than music box. So, all right. So I'll please turn to your back side of the principles, and we'll recite together the prayer for spiritual healing. And we'll do